Good day, everyone. Welcome to our crypto market breakdown. And in today's video, we'll be getting an insight into Bitcoin and ETH. We'll be starting off with Bitcoin, so let's dive right into it. So taking a look at Bitcoin from the monthly time frame. Now, there's a lot of things we can actually see from the monthly time frame, which is the first ETH Bitcoin gave us from the exchange being used. Actually, we can see we had it at quite a very big institutional figure around 19790, and since then we just had Bitcoin breakout and started flying sky high. Okay, and one thing of interest is we have never returned back into that region to possibly make it act as support or to make it break down and act as resistance. But basically, the whole idea is to understand what Bitcoin did and what Bitcoin is likely to do next. Now, you see, if you are in our Discord community, we actually dropped a PDF explaining our projection for Bitcoin, okay? And we'll just be doing a summary of that in this video. Since we broke this all-time high, we've never had price return back there, but we had price creating some sort of support right there within that region there. Okay, so price created support at that level, and we can see price actually acted as resistance, or there was some sort of resistance within this region. Now, the monthly time frame, we've been able to deduce or get an insight into the key support and resistance from the monthly time frame. Now, the whole idea is now to scale down to a lower time frame, such as the weekly, to see other things that the market might have to offer. Now, let's dive right into the weekly time frame. From the weekly time frame, okay, as said previously, we have this form of resistance which is yet to turn into support. We've never tested it, and we have this also right here, support here, which has not been tested to turn into a resistance or to turn into another support. And we have this resistance above here, which basically was what gave us our last ATH, and we haven't really seen price do much there. Now, our perspective at Unknown Satoshi is basically the fact that Bitcoin is caught up in a trading range. You would agree with me that this is the highest point price has been at, and this is basically the lowest point. So price is basically trading within these two values. So we could say the values are being averaged to 64k and 29k. Now, the whole idea is, what is the tendency of price reacting at this level? Okay, we already have price reacting at this level previously. We already have let me get that too. We already have one touch right here. We have one touch right here. We might get a third touch right here, which will basically push us to go sky high. Okay, or we might basically get a reaction here, then we break down, retest, and we go down. Now, I want you to understand something. Okay, we want you to understand something, which is the fact that it could basically be a probability, be it price reacting here to go higher or breaking down and going lower. The whole idea is we want to capitalize on the current price action that we see on the charts. Now, looking at this area right here, we have a mini support and resistance. This acted as resistance, broke through, was expected to act as support here, but it didn't. Broke through, acted as resistance, now acting as support, acted as support. We see it act as some sort of support here. We've broken through, and we are currently here. So the tendency of this acting as resistance is very high. As we can see, we've rejected off that region in price. Now, to the daily time frame now is to get an insight to understand if Bitcoin would basically be going to this low, this region right here, then to either look for some sort of reaction to trade higher or to trade lower. And that being the case, let's go to the daily time frame. Now on the daily time frame, we can see that we have this downtrend. Okay, we have this sort of downtrend right here. We are caught up in a downtrend, and you can basically see every single time we had an impulse, there was a correction. Okay, an impulse, there was a correction, an impulse, there was a correction. We had an impulse, okay, and now we already had that correction. That correction basically went into the trend line and also into the support resistance zone. Now what would we be expecting? Now it's all about seeing price repeat what it has done in the past, seeing price repeat what it has done in the past, understanding the likelihood of the same thing happening is very, very high. Now let me show you something. If you take a good look at this, you see that every time we had this correction, okay, every time we had a correction, price ended up breaking out, creating some sort of retest and dumping. Okay, every time we had a correction based on this current market structure, okay, based on this current price action we are seeing, this downtrend, okay, we always break out to the downside, some sort of retest and break out to the downside. Now this is the gist right here. This is the real gist right here. We've had, okay, we could decide to pick this. Okay, now we've had the breakout already. Okay, we've had the breakout in price already. What would we be expecting? It would be safe to say that we are expecting price to give off some sort of last push up before dumping down lower. Now, sorry to bust your bubble, okay, the 100k guys, the 10k guys, but based off what we see at Unknown Satoshi on the charts, we're basically expecting price to do some sort of retracement up on a lower time frame, which should be the 4 hour, the 2 hour, the 1 hour, the 3 hour, before we get our next dump. Now let's go to the 4 hour time frame to make all of this add up. You can basically see how price is trading, like currently how price is trading. Okay, you can see we had price trading a bit off the side. Okay, we had price trading a bit off the side, then going head down. Now when we went down here, we actually, or we basically, when we got this low right here, we had this some sort of short uptrend. Okay, this was a low, this was a high, this was a higher low, this was a higher high. Okay, now is this a higher low? Some people would agree that it's a higher low. Now the whole idea is, since we've not broken below this low, we can still say we are caught up within this piece of chart pattern right here, and what could be expected is some sort of movement in price to actually trade into this small support and resistance region right there. Okay, so we could get a retracement in price going higher, an extended retracement here before we get a dump, which will give us a head and a shoulder pattern. Okay, so we might be anticipating a head and a shoulder pattern here. Okay, so this is the left shoulder. I'll just limit LS. Okay, this is the left shoulder. We are anticipating the right shoulder to form. Then this is the head. This is just giving out an idea, an insight into what we might be expecting next on BTC. So we might be expecting a possible head and shoulder pattern for further dumps on BTC. Okay, so that's the thoughts, that's what we are looking at on the charts on BTC USDT. Now to the next chart, which is ETH. Okay, ETH. Now we're taking ETH also from the monthly time frame, and also there's this bit of correlation, there's this bit of same price preference, same price reaction on BTC and ETH. So I would like us all to basically get an insight into ETH the same way we got an insight into BTC. starting off from this angle right here. Okay, so basically we had that low there, sorry, that all-time high, the old all-time high we had, and we can see how price broke out trading higher, and since then we've not gotten a retracement back into that level or a retest back into that level for further buys, or a breakout and a retest for turning it into resistance. We also had this right here, this low. Price was basically caught up within a range before we had that major breakout. Now we also have this support created previously, and we have this as resistance. Since price didn't really close above it, we just covered the last bullish candle we did here. We covered it using this bearish candle. Now to the weekly time frame, the weekly time frame is where we get the whole gist from. You can basically see this is where we had resistance at, and it turned into support. We had resistance right here, which you can see the price action was very, very choppy there before we had that breakout to the downside. Now, marking out those zones properly, it would also be safe to say that we are caught up in a trading range on ETH, right? On a weekly trading range. If we go to the daily also, we'll see the trading range, but it's safe to say we are caught up in a trading range on the weekly time frame. I will just leave out all this ones. It's relatively the same as what we had on Bitcoin. Now to the daily time frame, now what we have on the daily time frame is very, 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 very interesting. Okay, let's put it that way. Now on the daily time frame, we can see we broke market structure to the downside, and we still have that same bearish trend line on Bitcoin. We have it here also on ETH. Okay, now the thing is, on ETH we haven't really gotten into that bearish trend line, and also this reaction we are getting here is due to this previous area of support and resistance. Okay, it's due to this previous area of support and resistance. That's why we are getting off this reaction, because price was relatively close. But the gist or the idea behind this is, every single time we had an impulse, there was a correction, we melted down. Impulse correction, melt down, impulse correction, melt down, impulse correction, melt down. This is a correction right here. Okay, so what we will be expecting is a meltdown very, very soon. Okay, a breakout to the downside of this supporting counter trend line. Okay, because this is the real trend line right here, the bearish one. We have a counter trend line right here. Now understanding this, I can basically switch to a line chart to give the trend line a bit of a better side. Okay, perfect. Go back to a candlestick chart. You can see it's still all aligns together. So we could get a rejection of this counter trend line and still like show that one last leg up before we melt down. But let's see what we have on the 4-hour time frame before we decide if there would still be a bit of movement to the upside into the trend line, then a dump, or we'll just have that meltdown into this next area of support. So the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we basically in a uptrend. Okay, now we had a break in market structure. So this was our low, this was our high, this is our higher low, this is our higher high. Now I would not be considering this as a higher high and a higher low, because we were still caught up within this high and this low, the range. So this is our higher high, and this is the most preferred higher low. Now the whole idea is, if we have price going higher, okay, we will take out this high and might possibly react off this region right here in price. Okay, off this region right there in price. Okay, so this might be one of the key regions we want to act as we have so many stops above here. Okay, this might be one of the regions we might want to react from. I go up into this before we melt down, or we get the desired rejection from this previous area of support, resistance, turn support, expected to turn resistance again. Okay, in that region right there. Okay, so right here, resistance, support, support, resistance. So we might get some bit of push into this area and melt down from there, or melt down from here. It all depends. And you can see we still have basically the same bias for BTC and ETH. So we do hope you learned a thing or two from this market breakdown. I'll catch you in the next market breakdown. Good luck and good trading. Bye for now.